Parasitism is one of nature's most successful survival strategies, but it is also one of the most misunderstood. At its core, parasitism is a close relationship between two species where one organism benefits while the other is harmed. The parasite may live on the host's skin, inside its organs, in its blood, or even attached to its roots. The host provides food, shelter, transportation, or a place to reproduce. In return, it pays a price. That price may be small, like irritation and lost energy, or severe, like disease, infertility, or death by slow exhaustion. What makes parasitism so fascinating is its intimacy. A predator usually attacks from the outside and ends the relationship quickly. A parasite often survives by keeping the host alive, sometimes for days, sometimes for years, while quietly extracting what it needs. Parasites exist across almost every branch of life. Some are single-celled protozoans, such as the organisms responsible for malaria, sleeping sickness, or amoebic dysentery. Others are animals, including hookworms, tapeworms, lice, fleas, mosquitoes, and even vampire bats. Fungi can be parasites too, as seen in ringworm infections or honey fungus attacking trees. Plants can also live parasitically, including mistletoe, dodder, and broomrapes, which draw nutrients from other plants. This variety matters because parasitism is not a rare exception in biology. It is a recurring solution to the same evolutionary problem: how to survive by using another living organism as a resource. Whenever life creates bodies, tissues, fluids, roots, or cells, other life forms evolve ways to exploit them. One major way scientists classify parasites is by where they live. Endoparasites live inside the host's body. They may occupy the intestines, blood, liver, muscles, or other internal tissues. Tapeworms and many disease-causing protozoans fall into this category. Ectoparasites live on the outside, usually on the skin, fur, feathers, or surface tissues. Lice, fleas, ticks, and many mites are examples. This difference shapes everything about their biology. An ectoparasite must deal with weather, grooming, scratching, and being dislodged. An endoparasite faces immune defenses, digestion, and the challenge of moving from one host to another. Whether inside or outside, a successful parasite must be adapted not just to a general environment, but to the living environment of a host. Parasitism is related to predation because both involve one organism consuming resources from another. But parasites are usually much smaller than their hosts, reproduce faster, and do not normally kill immediately. This slower strategy creates a very different evolutionary game. A lion benefits from killing a zebra quickly. A tapeworm benefits from a host that keeps eating, moving, and surviving long enough for the parasite to grow and reproduce. This is why many parasites harm without instantly destroying. They reduce fitness rather than simply ending life. The host may become weaker, less fertile, more vulnerable, or less able to compete. The parasite's success often depends on taking enough to survive, but not so much that the entire living system collapses too soon. Parasites use several major strategies to reach and exploit animal hosts. Some spread directly by contact, moving from one host to another through touch, proximity, shared bedding, grooming, or sexual contact. Others are trophically transmitted, meaning they move when one organism eats another. A parasite may live in an intermediate host, then reach its final host only after that host is consumed. Vector-transmitted parasites take another route, using a carrier such as a mosquito, tick, or fly to move between hosts. Malaria is the classic example. The parasite depends on mosquitoes to deliver it into human blood. Each route creates different pressures. A directly transmitted parasite must survive close contact. A trophically transmitted one must survive the food chain. A vector-transmitted one must exploit both host and carrier. Some parasitic strategies are especially extreme. Parasitic castration reduces or destroys the host's ability to reproduce, redirecting energy away from the host's offspring and toward the parasite. In evolutionary terms, this is devastating because reproduction is the central measure of fitness. Parasitoidism pushes the relationship even closer to predation. A parasitoid, often an insect such as a wasp, develops in or on a host and eventually kills it. This blurs the boundary between parasite and predator. The relationship begins like parasitism, but ends like predation. Micropredation is another edge case. Mosquitoes, for example, take small blood meals from multiple hosts rather than living permanently on one. They harm hosts temporarily, but their feeding can also transmit far more dangerous parasites. The harm caused by parasites can be general or highly specialized. Some simply steal nutrients, causing weakness, weight loss, anemia, or slower growth. Others damage tissues directly as they feed, burrow, or reproduce. Some trigger immune reactions that cause much of the suffering associated with infection. Parasites can also manipulate behavior. A host may become less cautious, move to a new habitat, or become more likely to be eaten by the next host in the parasite's life cycle. From a human perspective, this can look sinister, but biologically it is a product of selection. Any parasite variant that improves its chance of reaching the next host leaves more descendants. Over many generations, even tiny behavioral effects can become part of a precise transmission strategy. Many parasites are highly specialized. A particular parasite species may be adapted to one host species, one tissue, or one stage of a host's life. This specialization can involve body shape, mouthparts, enzymes, reproductive timing, immune evasion, and even chemical signals. The parasite is not simply living anywhere it can. It is often tuned to the exact biology of its host. That specialization creates an evolutionary arms race. Hosts evolve defenses, grooming, immune systems, avoidance behaviors, fever, inflammation, or protective tissues. Parasites evolve countermeasures, camouflage, rapid reproduction, complex life cycles, and ways to suppress or evade immunity. Neither side reaches a final victory. The relationship keeps changing because each adaptation creates new pressure on the other. Parasitism also sits on a spectrum of species interactions. At one end, it shades toward predation, especially in parasitoids that eventually kill their hosts. In other cases, relationships can evolve toward mutualism, where both partners benefit. A harmful association may become less damaging if keeping the host healthy improves long-term parasite survival. Some organisms can even blur categories depending on conditions. Certain fungi may behave parasitically on living hosts, but also live saprophytically by feeding on dead organic matter. This fluidity is important because nature does not always fit clean human labels. Parasitism is not a fixed moral category. It is one possible outcome in the broader economy of life, where organisms constantly trade, steal, compete, cooperate, and adapt. Humans have recognized parasites for thousands of years. Ancient Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans knew of worms and other visible parasites, even if they did not understand their full life cycles. The microscope changed everything. In 1681, Antony van Leeuwenhoek observed Giardia lamblia, helping reveal a hidden world of microscopic parasites. Francesco Redi described internal and external parasites, including liver flukes and ticks. By the 19th century, modern parasitology began to take shape as scientists connected organisms, hosts, disease, and transmission. This history shows how parasites forced science to look beyond what the naked eye could see. Many of the most important biological relationships are invisible until technology, careful observation, and repeated evidence make them visible. Parasites matter deeply to human health. Malaria-causing Plasmodium species, transmitted by mosquitoes, have shaped populations, economies, and histories. Hookworms can drain energy and productivity by feeding inside the body. Lice and fleas irritate, spread pathogens, and thrive where close contact allows easy transmission. Ringworm fungi affect skin and tissue. These examples show why parasitism is not just a topic for textbooks. It affects medicine, sanitation, agriculture, public health, and poverty. But understanding parasites also prevents oversimplification. The mosquito is not the malaria parasite, it is the vector. A worm is not harmful in the same way as a protozoan or fungus. Different parasites require different strategies, from clean water and sanitation to vector control, medication, and ecological management. Parasitism also carries a heavy cultural meaning. In everyday language, calling something a parasite is almost always an insult. Literature and film have used that reaction for centuries. Jonathan Swift compared poets to hyperparasitical vermin in satire. Bram Stoker's Dracula turned blood drinking into gothic horror. Science fiction, including Alien, imagined parasitic life as invasion from within. These stories work because parasitism touches a deep fear: the body as habitat, the self as resource, the hidden intruder feeding unseen. Yet in biology, parasites are not villains. They are products of evolution, as natural as predators, pollinators, and prey. They reveal that life is not only competition from a distance. Sometimes survival happens through closeness, dependence, and extraordinarily precise exploitation. If you found this helpful, please like this video and subscribe for more explainers.